Hey guys, here we are at stream number 2 for the day. This one will go slightly longer, but not much longer. I got about an hour before Halloween party has to happen. So, therefore, I'm probably going to end up doing a third stream even later tonight. Which will certainly not get many people on the west coast of the US, but maybe I'll get some people in Asia or Australia. I'm spending way too much time on this little ancillary character. Need to hurry this up. Damon, welcome back. Let's see. Try to see what happens if I sand the shape into these legs a little bit instead of carving. That'll muck with the translucency, but that is fine because I'm going to be painting the legs black the further they extend from the body. I'm gonna get your name, Mordecai. Mordecai. Like Al-Qaeda and Mordecai mixed together. Okay. Mordecai says, I prefer fourth try. Fair enough. I would not be surprised if that ends up happening. But the good news is, the lights in this horn magically came back. Bad news is I have no control over that, so that really sucks, especially if I'm going to be, well, certainly I will be photographing this, and I can almost assure you that just as I'm about to start taking the pictures and video of it, that light's going to go out again. You know how that works. Mordecai says, you can call me Morda, or Alien. Let's go with Morda, because that's closer to what it actually says on my screen. Oh yeah, and I need to be recording this for the video. Record, please. Thank you. I'm going to gouge out a little bit on the inside of the knees, so when I pose it, it should be more posable. focus. I know you can do this. Come on, focus. Okay, now, well, let's stay focused there. Let's find it. Fat is suggesting to maybe pan out a bit. I probably will in a little bit. I want to get some close-up shots for the actual video that I'm going to be editing together this weekend. Evo Cash TV again. Come on. How did that? I wonder if that's on all channels or if there's something I did that allows that bot to come on this stream. Fat says, I miss my dedicated workspace right now. I'm trying to make a wraith in my bathroom. Yeah, bathrooms are not the best work areas. I agree with that. Mord says, hey Josh, do you know who made the Winter's Day jumping puzzle? Yep, that was Jason Jones. Back when I lived in an apartment and I was getting ready to get married, I made a giant paper mache tree. It was almost life-size and just absolutely destroyed the carpet. But we knew we were going to be moving out at some point, and you know, me and my kids had been living there long enough that we knew there was no way we were getting a deposit back on it anyway. So I was fine with absolutely destroying the carpet. In fact, when we moved out, I just ripped it up, and it's what's in my garage right now. Makes it a little less frigid in the winter. Fat says, fortunately it's a big bathroom with 2 sinks and lots of room, but yeah. I don't know if I've ever lived in a place that had a bathroom with 2 sinks. kind of a wraith are you making, Fat? Like a ring wraith, or like a Games Workshop wraith, or classic traditional wraith? I keep getting tempted to try doing a clear coat over this. I feel like that would probably hide a lot of the bubbles, but I don't think it would actually get rid of all the baby powder that's causing the whiteness, if indeed it is the baby powder causing the whiteness. Really, I just need to do whatever's fastest at this point, because, like I said last time, you're barely going to see this little guy. Here, let me try to pose him and show you where he's going to live. He's going to be up in this little hole here. Damon says, got down below freezing for the first time last night here in Nebraska. There's a nice warm front on the west coast that's actually kind of overheating in the car today. Which is nice because our heater broke last week. And the guy who came to fix it conveniently didn't have any of the parts to actually fix it, so they had to go order them or whatever. And they'll be back, you know, whenever. It's still way too cold in the mornings, but during the afternoon it's fine. Oops. Fat says, yeah, it's a good idea because I don't think I got my deposit back. I will get my deposit back either. He says it's kind of like a Harry Potter wraith. He's all white and will glow in the black light. Oh, that's cool. So kind of your own design, but looks kind of like the. I assume you're talking about the whatever those soul-sucking guys were in that guard the guard Azkaban. What are those guys called? Hi Dottie, welcome back. Damon says, these days are few and far between that you don't need the furnace or AC here. Yep, that is the Midwest. I do not miss it. Damon misses Washington. He used to live here. Yeah, I've lived here and moved away 3 times now, and I think every time has made me appreciate it more. How did I get that other guy jammed in there so well? Go in your home. Ah, there we go. Damon says they were called Dementors. Yes. Damon says I did. I was born and raised in various parts of Kitsap, Mason, and Pierce counties. Alright. Kind of northish, huh? Fat Peanut says, yes, Dementors. That's what he's like, but white. Alright, I think I want to make these arms a little shorter. Now that I see that he goes way back in there, I don't think I need to paint him at all. Well, maybe just the tips of the legs, but that's not much. Yeah. Should at least put I think I'll put a wash on him. Davidson says, since you're just shoving him down in there, could you cut his back legs down to make it easier? Yeah, I might as well. Good point. I think I want to do some kind of little beady gleaming eyes though, so if you catch it at just the right angle of light, they'll glint. Imba Pixel Art says, love to see you live again, Josh. I hate spiders. Sorry about that. But at least there's no more centipedes like there used to be. Those suckers just have too many legs. I have not figured out a way to do realistic teeny tiny legs without spending a million years on them. And I do not have a million years for this, budgeted for this project. Alright, we'll let this guy hang out over here for a while. What time do we got? 6 o'clock. Okay, I have about half an hour. That's probably enough time to get some slimy action going. Alright, it is at this point that I need to decide. I need to focus. First I'm going to focus. Okay. Now I need to decide, am I doing slime down inside in the underneath part first? Or can I just glue them down? Oh! That reminds me of something I was going to do and have not done yet. I need to plug in my glue gun. Damon says, to make spiders fuzzy, I use that fake grass you use on the bottom of miniatures, then airbrush over the top to whatever color I need. Yeah, I actually thought about that. It's called static grass. If the spider was going to be more prominent, I would probably look into doing that. Now this is weird. Why am I seeing something different on my view screen than I am in OBS? It's putting out a different size signal. That's very strange. Is it squishing it? ArtCam, what are you doing? You are squished. Why? Why are you squished? Fat says, could use Swarovski crystals for the eyes. Yeah, they need to be like super itty bitty. I think just using like a toothpick tip or a needle with some super glossy black paint will do the trick. Okay, right, so got this plugged in. Just using it. Nope. I also need to figure out the treatment that I'm going to have for all around. Because the edges don't match up perfectly with the edges of this. And I'm gonna have it like oozing sap out all over. But there's just a lot of really like gross in a not cool way stuff going on, like different colors and textures and stuff. I think, oh, that reminds me. So after I did leeches instead of centipedes, and it's not so much leeches as just some kind of like black magical goo that's, you know, expanding out of here, but it gave me a more precise idea of the narrative that I'm trying to get across with this. I finally have so here's the importance of a narrative when it comes to a semi-abstract sculpture like this, is that the importance of it is that it's hard to articulate, so you look like an idiot when you try to articulate it live. That's what's important. Okay, I had a general idea about what I wanted to communicate. Essentially, if there is a narrative, I am making all the like micro decisions about where to put things and how to arrange things based on something that in my mind is solid, even if I can't articulate it exactly. But this is essentially what I'm thinking of. The narrative of this is, here we have a beautiful piece of wood that's been, you know, cut in the cross section as pieces of this type of wood are wont to be done to, have done. Language is such a hard English. Language is such a hard English. Yes. Don't worry, I'm not having a stroke. I'm feeling punchy and silly right now. I think because I'm under a little bit of time pressure. What was I trying to say? Okay, yeah. So this wood has been cross-sectioned, but it was part of a very evil tree that was like, it had an infection, an evil infection inside of it, right? And so one day this decorative thing suddenly started like boiling, and this like demonic face started like bubbling out of the surface. So that's why I kept all the tones and colors very similar. Of course, it's lit up because of the evil behind it, the infection behind it. And then at some point, like a big gross boil, it just burst, and all of the infected evil is like blah, oozing out of it. All right, so that's my narrative. Does it make sense? It doesn't have to make like perfect sense. It needs to be, in my mind, it needs to be internally coherent and consistent. That's the way I look at it. Fat says they come super small and will glint in the light. The crystals. Yeah, but at this point, I'm not willing to go out and get stuff right now. I just need to be done with this. Okay, so all of that came from me saying, oh, how do I clean up these edges? And I think that having just a bunch of bubbling ooze that looks like it's, you know, the material that's covering this, but it's like all boiled up and gross, will probably cover it pretty well. So that's going to be my first stab at it. My only reservation is if that doesn't work, well, it's all encased, and so there you can't really get under it without like chiseling it off again. So it's a bit of a gamble. I don't think it's a crazy gamble. Okay, so the last thing I needed to do in here, actually, I'm gonna do a little, so when this is on, you have, I don't know, 20 little windows that you can look in. Every place there's a void, you could conceivably look in there and see what's going on back there, and I wanted to give the impression there's just this writhing mass of these gross black leechy tentacle things, right? So there's a couple angles where I'm looking in and I see, oh, the gesture that I did kind of breaks down if you look at it from this particular angle. And the one place I saw a broken gesture, if you will, was like right in this little spot, which you guys can't really see because the lights are kind of blowing in and out. Actually, watch this. Watch this. Okay, there we go. I'll show you up close. So you can see right in, right here, kind of what's going on. See, I put down just black hot glue and just like spaghettied it back and forth across the area. But there's a tentacle that goes down and just kind of dead ends there. And when you look through one of the nostrils, it like does a window right there, and it's just like, oh well, that's just a broken thing. Doesn't look good. So that's one thing I'm going to fix. Then I'm going to just do general webbing with the hot glue gun, and then I think I'll be happy to stick the mask on permanently. By the way, if you're wondering how I have this thing propped up, it's on a guitar stand thingy. We made a perfect holder for this, because when I'm applying the drips and slime on the front of it, I want gravity to do most of the work of like pulling the drips down properly. So I'm just going in and purposely being really sloppy, tapping the edges, and I'm getting a nice webbing effect. For the inside, and I'm not super concerned with making it great because you only see tiny little glimpses. This guy's supposed to be sticking up there. Have to add him later. fix this little part that I'm unhappy with. Let's get you guys close enough to see some of the detail going on here. Wow, that is just pure visual noise, isn't it? Alright, I think that's pretty good. Now I think I'm content to put the mask in its final position and glue it down permanently. Hello, Demi. Alright, I think I'm going to... I'm not sure if I want to glue it down while it's up like this, where it's got pressure going down, or if I want to lay it flat. I kind of feel like flat's the safer bet for right now. Should probably remove the little nails that are holding keeping it consistently in the right place. Quiet Storm says, yes, looks wild. Thumbs up. Thank you. And welcome, Quiet Storm. This horn can go down better if I shave some of it off. I can't tell if that part's safe to no. This part is safe to shave off or not, because I think it's the tip of the LED ribbon. So I'm probably safer to sand that part down. In fact, I'm just going to take that to the belt sander real quick. In theory it will be quick. Yeah, that's better. So I have a general fear that if I just start pumping hot glue under here, it's going to magnify the light coming out of the edges, and I really don't want that. I want it more dim around the edges, which means if I put down some clay, yeah, I better do some clay. Demi says, hi Josh, I missed the last live, but I saw it after while I was at work. The piece is looking great. Awesome. Glad you're liking it. I've been trying to use all of my freeform Sculpt on crap things that don't really involve much sculpting, because I'm not a fan of this particular brand of epoxy clay. Decided to try it out because it's from Smooth On, and I get a lot of Smooth On products anyway, but the consistency when it's mixed is so sticky. It's just awful to work with. But it's fine for situations where you just need to, you know, basically run a bead around something. gonna use some So Strong brown tint to get it to be closer in tone to the mask and the wood. Make sure you're not wearing clothes you care about when you use this stuff. It is like the strongest, most concentrated dye I've ever seen. And I always need to change into different gloves after I use it. Otherwise I end up touching a bunch of stuff that gets it on the stuff, and then I touch that stuff later when I'm not wearing gloves, and that's how you ruin stuff. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is probably spot weld this with the hot glue gun before I start shoving the clay in there, because I could see if I'm shoving it in there, it's like slowly pushing it down in another spot, and then when I push it back, it ruins where I did it before. I don't want to go through that whole rigmarole if I don't have to. Quiet Storm says it's the devil's dye. That's right. Well, I wonder how close I can get you guys to this. You can see how cool the little strands are down in here. So that's all that little webbing that I was doing earlier. It's pretty cool. This is fairly firmly in place. I think I might have to actually go in and paint a smooth transition from this clay buildup I'm doing, wrapping it around onto the surface. That's pretty cool, gross little webbing I got from blowing the air. Oh, that's an interesting thought. I'm gonna try something here real quick. Tell me if this ends up cool. Okay, so if I do a blob of glue here, and then blow it, that didn't get the same kind of bubbly thing I was hoping for. Quiet Storm is saying, off the hook, man. That is a phrase I have not heard since the mid-90s. Thanks for that blast to the past. There goes poor CD. I swear, I keep coming closer and closer to actually just putting all my music on the computer and making a playlist, so I won't be dependent on these stupid old CDs. But it keeps not happening. Quiet Storm says, ha, ha, anytime. But it did look cool when you took the camera close inside. Ah, yeah. I made a art project when I was in high school. I think it was maybe my sophomore or junior year. And it's an idea that I've loved and keep wanting to go back to and revisit. But it was basically like an asteroid. It was probably about 2 feet wide-ish, and it had, so it was just a gray asteroid, and it had a little crashed spaceship and a little astronaut who was peeking inside a crater. And if you looked into the crater that he's looking into, you saw it was a window into this crazy, like, alien biome, like a swamp, with like black light, glow in the dark plants and weird alien creatures and stuff. And I put a tape recorder with a tape that I made by using my synthesizer to make a bunch of crazy, weird, like, alien swampy noises. So the closer you got to it, you would hear that, like, subtle nature, ambience, alien stuff. And so I've had this idea for the past, ever since then, which, I don't know, it's been like 25 years, of like taking that to the next level. Like, I want to make an asteroid looking thing that's more like 5 or 6 feet wide with a bunch of craters, and when you look inside one side, it would be like a daytime diorama of this whole, like, alien city, with fiber optics making it all glow and look cool, and then a sun that's levitating in the middle, and that would just be a mirror that goes across, that the cross section of it is a mirror. And then if you look on the other side, it's the same scene but at night. So all the buildings are lit up, and they're, I got all these ideas, and there'd be like a moon levitating in the middle of it. Someday, when I have unlimited time and resources, I'm totally gonna get back to that. Probably about the same time that I get all my CDs transferred to MP3s. Damon says, I broke down and ripped everything I owned last year. Best decision ever. Quiet Storm says, speaking of the 90s, man, that sounds awesome. I have so many awesome ideas that I will never live long enough to make. first CD. I think I bought my first CD in 1992, would be my best guess. I know I was still in high school, and I did not have a CD player. But CDs looked so much cooler than tapes. And they had bigger packages for cooler pictures, you know, covers. And since I was into like extreme metal, like they always had very interesting covers. And so it was always better to see them higher res than lower in dumb tape format size. Alright, I think I got this sealed up enough to put the clay around now. Let's find out. Damon says, my first CD was a Christmas gift. It was MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit. Bam, bam. My first CD I got after owning a Discman was my Amazing 30 ESP. Oh, with my Amazing 30 ESP was Manowar. I'm trying to think if I've ever heard Manowar. I've heard of them. I don't know that I've ever heard their music. Are they just kind of like hard rock or straight ahead metal? I don't think they're really extreme, are they? For the longest time, I was just so infatuated with death metal vocals that I was very closed-minded to really great music that had clean vocals. I just wasn't interested. If it didn't sound like a snarling beast was the vocalist, I did not care for it. Damon says electronic skip protection. Oh, that's what ESP is? I had not heard of that term. That's just so basically if the unit bounces or whatever while you're jogging, it must have had a little bit of RAM to like read the data onto a little bit ahead of it or whatever, would be my guess. Quiet Storm says, I like my vinyl, lol. I finally got a vinyl player recently because I made an album cover for a band for their vinyl release. And I was like, well, I'd really like to have this album, but what's the point of having it if I can't listen to it? So it's not a good one, but it's not awful either. To be honest, well, probably because I haven't invested enough time and energy and knowledge into my sound system to be able to balance it properly. But like, I can't tell the difference between a record and a CD player, or a CD. which is awful. Reminds me of my in-laws who can't tell the difference between movies that have, or they have their TV set to that, what is that called, where everything gets all smoothed out and looks like a bad soap opera. They just have that mode on. And they can't even tell. They're just like, what? It's fine. David says they are power metal if you want to subclass them. Okay, yeah, that sounds right. Power metal. Power metal always sounds to me like if Journey decided that they were going to be hardcore. That's what they would end up sounding like. Never been a fan of that particular subgenre. Damon says, back when Discmans would skip unless you held them perfectly still. Most of them are still like that. Although that's probably more to do with my crappy CDs than the CD players. Because yeah, a lot of my CDs literally go back to the early 90s. Like, they are the same hunk of plastic that was produced in 1992. Amy, hello! Did you learn all the SATs? You know them all now? Amy says, SAT is so boring! But I'm doing it well. Amy, stop whining. Glad to hear you're doing it well, though. Amy says, you asked me how it was. It was boring. Alright, fair enough. I may not have given you the most charitable reading of your statement. Maybe. But then I never took the SATs, so I'm not smart enough to know how to read your comments correctly. I don't think I did I? What are the SATs for? They're what colleges look at? Maybe I took them. I certainly didn't study for them. And look how awesome I turned out. You just need to explain to your parents and all the colleges that Josh Foreman didn't study for his SATs, and he's awesome, so there's no reason for you to. Midgrastamore, Mister, says, you are too flipping cool, man. And you got censored. Sorry, sorry, Midgagar. But thanks for your opinion. Yeah, this channel is rated T for teen, so we don't use naughty language like flippin' here. I'm so frustrated. There's still a few lights in there that are shining just enough green to like give little spots here and there, but I mucked with it as much as I could given the constraints that I've given myself. Those constraints including being an imbecile when it comes to electronics. Midgard, thank you. Yes, I am flippin' cool. I appreciate it. thinking I'm gonna need to go in and do some kind of paint blend. Well, maybe I could actually just airbrush where this, so airbrush so it goes from like a dark brown into the mask and a dark brown into the thing. I'm worried because this wood has this like super thick gloss coat, so I don't know how good that's gonna look. I might have to like do gloss coat all the way over all the former gloss coat and like mop it up onto the mask to some extent. I'm not sure. I hope not, because I really want to have this done tonight. Amy says, I mean, I'm good at school, so it makes sense to take a test to prove it. I should go into something STEM-ish. So, how do the grades that you get not already prove that you're good at school? That's the part I don't understand. I guess because it's not a completely uniform assessment the way an SAT is, because different school districts have different standards and different teachers have different standards. I guess I just answered my own question. But that doesn't mean I can't still be emotionally incensed about it. And I agree, you should go into a STEM field, even though I don't know if that's exactly where you would thrive. I just know we need more women in STEM fields. I am part of a group called Women in Gaming, where we try to do whatever we can to encourage women in the game to get into the game industry. I was just at an event a week or so ago where it was like a speed mentoring thing where a bunch of us from the game industry were there, and we were all each at separate tables, and then the women were from other industries or school or whatever, and every 10 minutes they'd like switch to another table. So it was kind of like not really an interview. It was kind of interview-like, but it was like them asking us what the game industry is like, you know, how to get into it, that kind of stuff, and us kind of getting a feel for what they want out of the game industry. It was cool. I hope we continue to make progress on that front. I work at a pretty diverse game company, which is cool. The first company that I started at was pretty much a frat house. It was like 30 dudes in their early 20s with the standard secretary, you know, female secretary, and then all the developers were dudes. Glad to report that it's no longer the common case. Amy says, though I would love to have a largely art or design based job. You should get into the game industry, Amy. That is STEM and art and design. Amy says, potential and all that nonsense. Quiet Storm says, good thing about art, you can master it without school and just watch Josh. LOL. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna master it that way, but you can certainly get a good deal of the way. Like, I'm advising my son not to go to college. Because nowadays, it is, I mean, for the kind of stuff that he wants to do, like, he doesn't want to be a lawyer or anything like that. He wants to do art, design, video editing, that kind of stuff. So that is something that a degree is just not really helpful with. Like, it all comes down to your portfolio, really. There's a few places that care about degrees, but the vast majority do not. And you can learn almost everything you need to know from online. We live in amazing times. Like, throughout history, you know, knowledge about industry was like kept super secret by guilds and the government and, you know, the church, whatever, you know, like secret math organizations back in the Greek days. So it's amazing that now we have professionals of, you know, multi-decade professionals who are just like, yeah, here's everything I know for free. Ask me any questions you want, I'll answer them for free. It's great. I feel like it means that we as humanity are evolving in the right direction. Midgard says, art. Oh, wait. I missed one. Mordecai says, grades mean you can regurgitate facts. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the school system in general. Midgard says, art does not need a college degree. If you are good like Josh, you can hit the right nail. You can hit the right nail at, for example, an art gallery. Now, in college, you learn a lot. Amy says, grades mean you finish your homework in time and can take tests decently well. Quiet Storm says, get a job a robot can't do. Yes, indeed. I was just reading a book called A Whole New Mind. That was the entire premise of the book, was because of, what was it? Robots and China and what was the other thing? Oh, abundance. Like, because of these three factors, the job market is increasingly moving away from right-brained skills towards the left, or vice versa. Now, for whatever reason, I can't remember which side of the brain is associated with creativity. Is it right? Or is it left? No, left is analytical, right is creative. In very broad strokes. Amy says, my art dream job is concept art. My, if not art dream job, is product or industrial design. Industrial design can be very cool. That's what my degree is in. I mean, there's a lot of things that fall under the umbrella of industrial design. Sorry, I keep working my way out of frame. Quiet Storm says, college is social programming. Well, there is certainly a lot of that going on, I will agree. Some of it worthwhile, some of it probably less so. Eric Soto says, I'm going to do game audio so I don't have to starve, solely trying to record musicians, lol. Yeah, musicians are the worst. They pay you in peanuts. I mean, unless you know the, like, 270 who actually are, like, huge hit artists. The rest of them pay you in peanuts.
I'm back.
Oh.
Ready to prepare.
Okay, I'm probably about 10 minutes from you. Yeah? Midgar says, internet is the new college without diploma. You can certainly learn a lot from the internet. There is a little bit that probably being in a classroom setting, again, talking about like art and design stuff, not like how to be a lawyer. Although I'll bet even a lot of that you can probably get just as much stuff online. I haven't tried, but yeah, I don't know. I hope I'm not steering my son wrong by telling him, or well, I'm not telling him anything. He's 18, he can do what he wants, but advising him not to go to college. I mean, he just hates school with a passion to begin with, so. Mordecai says, I told my nephew college is about connections. Do your coursework and meet connections. That's a good point. There are other ways to make connections. Certainly in the game industry, there's, industry events and game jams and other sorts of associations where you can get elbow to elbow with professional game developers and make build relationships and make connections that way. Amy says, I would tend to disagree that colleges are useless now, if only for jobs that really require a degree. Yeah, definitely. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a business manager or whatever, yeah, they're looking at your degree. If it's an industry where it's about a portfolio of like, hey, look, here's something that I've made, and it demonstrates my skill, like, that's, to me, like, I've been involved in the hiring process of a lot of people. I have never once cared about their degree. Nor have I heard any of the other people involved in the hiring decision say, well, their portfolio wasn't great, but look, they've got a master's of fine art. Therefore, they're probably going to be a good hire. No, that is never said. I ran out of clay. So close, so close. Okay, mix some more. I have like 5 minutes, you guys. Wife aggro, indeed. That's what just happened. I got wife aggroed. Onassis, hello! Just in time for me to be done in 5 minutes. Amy says there's a really good law podcast. Yeah, there's a really good everything podcast these days. I love podcasts. Quiet Storm says, it does look good with that darker edge, though. Good call. Amy says, a college degree at the very least is a good backup plan, although if your kid doesn't like school, he'd probably stop going anyway, so not wasting money if he's not going to do well. Yeah, exactly. Is probably smart. Thank you for finishing that sentence. I never would have known what you meant. Quiet Storm says, have a good night, brother. Turned out great. Thanks. Well, hopefully you'll see the video of the compilation of me doing all 3 of these things, and you'll like that too. That's coming out on the 1st, hopefully. Maybe the 31st if I can get it out by then. Seems like a good Halloween day subject matter. Mordecai says, I prefer work, especially then degree. I prefer work, experience, then degree. I get several college applicants at my work, and I have to retain them as college is training them in a very wrong way. Yeah, I think that's probably a universal problem in most STEM fields. I don't know what field you're in, but certainly just all the tools, techniques, protocols, even the culture of the STEM fields are just constantly iterating and changing. So most people who stop to teach at those places are pretty much out of date within, a year or so, unless they work really hard to stay, on continuing education. But I have found that's not always the case. In fields that don't require continuing education, the amount of continuing education that happens is appallingly low. That's what I found out. Like, I've been in the game industry for 21 years now, and the amount of other people in the industry I know who actually spend their own time and money to keep up to date on stuff, maybe 10-15%. Everyone else just kind of, they'll learn the new thing when the studio demands that they learn the new thing. They're like, okay, we're upgrading to physically based rendering. Everyone needs to learn the new software now. And they're like, alright, time to learn the new software. But I mean, this technology has been around for like 5 years. Would have been helpful if everyone was like ready to go. Amy says, but how is a fresh out of school person supposed to get in the first place? Good question. Once you know the answer to that, you should write a book and sell 1 million copies. Mord says, I work at a library. Aha. Amy says, lol. Mord says, computers, 3D printers, and books. We do a lot of STEM programs. Amy says, okay, that makes more sense. I need to go. Thanks for streaming, Josh. See everyone later. See ya, Amy. Thanks for stopping by. Mord says, indeed, my job is primary to process items, but also teach computers, 3D printers, software. Okay, yeah. That stuff's definitely always changing. Ah! Something is making that flicker and it's so terrifying. Seemed to happen when I pressed down? Ah. I hope when everything's set in place, it just stops doing that. Oh! Look, I didn't even touch it. Ah. Well, this session turned out a lot more boring than I hoped it would be. I think, because I'm still hoping to get this done tonight, I'm gonna go to this Halloween party and then come back and just power through the slime part tonight late. Probably. I don't think it's gonna take long to do the slime drips and stuff, but then I never think any of this is gonna take long. Guess what? Spoiler alert, it always takes long. Damon says, your wife is much more gracious about 10 minutes than mine is. She's just learned that 10 minutes always means 20 minutes, and 1 hour always means 2 hours, and 10 hours always means 20 hours. But you're right, she is incredibly gracious. But I always sincerely mean it. I really thought it would be 10 more minutes. It feels like it's been 10 minutes to me. I haven't looked at the clock, so when I'm in a huge tizzy of a rush, I tend not to look at the clock. Mord says, unmarried and no kids here. Oh, well then how do you ever feel stress and pressure in your life? I shouldn't say that. I'm actually at the age now where my youngest kid is 18, so we're pretty much empty nesters. And as has been demonstrated, my wife is incredibly gracious and does not put stress on me at all. But I know that's not the case for everyone. All right. Yeah. Okay, so that should set up while I'm at the party over the next couple hours. Come back, add slime. Oh, oh, ow, ow, ow. Ooh. Pro tip, don't rip your rubber glove off when you have a wound that's healing and it pulls away the healing skin. That's no fun. Mord says, helping individuals who don't do computers to learn computers. Oh, that sounds like a good source of stress. Very good, very good. Excellent retort, good boy. Good man. How's that go? I'm not British enough, I don't know. Anyway, okay, gotta go. I'll see you guys in a couple hours if you're still around. If not, I'll see you guys Wednesday. Bye.